There we go.
All right.
Yeah. Hey everyone. Welcome to the Married Life of Rich and Kevin. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rich.
And this video is going to be the next in our series of household finances. And we're going to be talking about when up jumps the devil. In other words, emergency fund. And up jumps the devil is what my mom would always refer to when some kind of significant, surprising expense just pops out of the blue. So obviously we all know the need for emergency funds. It's to provide a cash cushion. Can be large amount, can be small amounts, just something there so that when the unexpected does happen, and it will, you're not left scrambling wondering how you're going to cover, a sick pet, a brand new set of tires, an expensive car repair, let alone, like we discussed in previous videos, like when COVID, when people were unexpectedly not working. And that impacted a lot of people negatively. If you are familiar with a lot of the personal finance gurus, the two main ones that we're familiar with are Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey. You no doubt know that they typically recommend for an emergency fund between 6 to 18 months of realistic living expenses, and that can sound extremely overwhelming right out of the gate because there's a psychological barrier for a lot of us that if we can't put aside hundreds of dollars all at once, then an emergency fund isn't worth fooling around with, and that's a trap. Don't fall for it. It does not matter if you're starting out and you're putting in $5 a week or $50 a month or something like that. The important thing at the beginning is to get into the habit of paying yourself. This is one of the things that is referred to when you hear personal financial coaches and money people say pay yourself first. It's not just retirement. Excuse me. Gosh, I just trimmed my mustache with a razor, and I think I got straight hair there. But all right, TMI. But so it's important to have an emergency fund, and like you've heard us talk about, we strive to live on half of our income. Part of that reason is to sock aside things, money aside in an emergency fund. And one of the more recent things that we had happen, well, that was probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah, probably the most expensive out of all of it.
Right.
Recently.
Is we adopted a kitten, Ethelwolf, and let's see, he was probably not even a year old, getting close to a year old.
Yeah, I think about a year old.
He was getting close to a year old and started having urinary problems. And it turned out that he had a bladder stone, not a kidney stone, but a bladder stone that was big enough that the vet was reluctant to break it apart because she wasn't convinced that he would be able to safely pass the fragments. So Rich was talking with the vet, and the vet's main recommendation was to have surgery where they would go in and they would slice open his bladder and remove the bladder stone. But the price tag for that surgery was going to be $1,800 right from the beginning. And so Rich said, well, let me talk to Kevin. I'm 99.9% sure he'll say go ahead and do it. But he just wanted to run it by me first, so we did, and we're like, this is our little guy.
Yep.
This is one of the things that we have an emergency fund for. Unexpected things. So we went and had the surgery done, and then it got even more expensive
It was probably
because
about $2,200 once it's all said and done.
right. And but he's got a clean bill of health. He hasn't had any problems
Right.
since then.
He has to have special food, but
Yeah, has to have special food that's $80 a bag, and so that, you know, right there, that's something new and unexpected that we've had to put in our monthly budget. But thank God for the emergency fund. I mean, we would have had it done anyway, but at least this way we could pay for it all in one swoop, and you know, not have to worry about, oh my gosh, how are we going to scrape together, or how many months is this going to take us to pay off?
right.
So, you know, there's one of the reasons for it right there, and so it's important to start as early as possible and just be as disciplined as you can be to put this money aside and resist the temptation to dip into it for things that are not, you know, what you would consider an emergency, and that's going to be different for everybody. Another thing with an emergency fund is it's a spiritual practice as well, and the reason I say that is because you put together and you put this money in this account for emergencies, and one pops up and you have to dip into it. Is the first response going to be annoyance or gratitude? And for me, for the longest time, and even still sometimes, my knee-jerk reaction is annoyance that we just got this back up to the level that we like to keep it at, and here something comes along and I have to dip into it to take care of this, this, and this. So I've started becoming very mindful of, you know, when that knee-jerk reaction happens, not to hold on to it or to nurse it, but to just, okay, hold it. Thank you so much for us being able to be in a position where we have this. And so just shifting it from annoyance to gratitude is very, very important. And so anything you want to
Yeah.
add to that?
Think of it, start out small. As in, like we sat down, we did a budget, we know how much money is going out, we know how much we bring in. But if you're starting a, you know, emergency fund right now, and you say, let's say you think, okay, we did the calculation of what, 6 months to 18 months or whatever you said, that's a lot of money. I mean, for you to just think, okay, I need $40,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 in my emergency fund. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there.
Yeah.
Start off a little bit at a time, and it grows and grows, but you got to leave it alone. It's for the emergency. It's not for, oh, I need this new pair of shoes. It's an emergency. That's not an emergency.
Right.
So make sure to start off small, because I know it took me, because like I said, I've gone through the videos before. I went through a divorce, and it took me, it seems like forever. And so make yourself a little goal. Okay, in 2 months I'm going to have, you know, $700, and in 2 more months I'm going to have the $1,400, or try your best to push it a little bit further. Some months are going to be a little harder than others, because you got Christmas, you got birthdays, you got things that come up, and so you can't, you know, even though you might budget for it, but sometimes it gets blown a little bit out of the water sometimes. But make sure that you're, though, putting something. I mean, don't just think, oh, this month I'm just going to blow it all, and next month I'll start it.
Right.
Because the next month you're probably not going to start it, and it's just going to go from there. So that's my recommendation. Start with something and just keep it going, because I'm really surprised how long Kevin and I have been together, how much we have built. I mean, and continue to build. And so it's really, but you got to be on top of it, and you got to be able to leave it alone.
Yeah. And don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
I mean, there are going to be some months where it is just not going to happen. And don't beat yourself up, and don't be, oh, what's the use? And Excuse me for being,
Sorry, we got kitty just
being
wants
serenaded. He's already had his treats. He wants more.
more.
Always with the treats. Another reason for the emergency fund. Got a cat with a treat addiction. And that's true.
And the thing is, and we talked about this before, you know, I was always under the pressure of as soon as your car gets paid off, buy a new one. Well, that's not having car payments. Well, that's able to put more money in our emergency fund
Right.
every single month. The more we keep our cars up, you know, light goes off, we get it in for service. I mean, if something doesn't sound right, we get it in for service. I'd rather pay $400 or $500 for a repair than one time, and it lasts me another year without any repairs, than to have to make a monthly payment
Yeah.
every single month. So, you know, it's so much easier not holding any balances on your credit card. It's so much easier to build that emergency fund once you can get those things, if you can.
Yeah.
Get those things eliminated.
A lot of it will have to do with age, where you are in life. Are you partnered with somebody? Are you not? Do you live alone? Do you have roommates? If so, how many? I remember back in my 20s, and I had finished college, and the economy was in the tank. Seems every time I get done with something, the economy's in the tank. But anyway, I shared an apartment with two other guys who were friends from college, and I was doing accounting temp work during the day and bartending at nights. And I remembered how excited I was when I finally cleared $1,000. We're talking back in the late 80s. So when I cleared my first $1,000 in a savings account that I did not have to touch for anything. And I was so excited. And then, you know, several months later, I kept adding to it. And again, a lot of it would be, the bulk of my tips would go into savings or for, you know, little splurges, because it is important to treat yourself once in a while. And then the accounting temp checks, because those were always 40 hours a week, those went towards the monthly expenses, because it was very easy to calculate how much I was going to have, whereas anyone who's worked for tips, it can fluctuate like crazy depending. And you think you're in for a good night, and you wind up not doing good. But I remember when I went to visit my folks shortly after that, and my dad said, "Your tires are bald. You need to get some new tires." And not just 1, 2, or 3, but 4. So needed to grudgingly dip into that emergency fund to buy a new set of tires. And I was furious. I was just absolutely furious, because I kept thinking, this is ridiculous. It took me this long just to clear 1,000, and now, you know, I not only need to replace that to get it back to where it was, but I need to keep building. And I keep thinking, this is not doable. Don't fall for it. Just keep at it. Just keep at it. Because also, especially when you have some good months that aren't typically expensive, and you're able to put a respectable amount of money in there, I also think it acts as a psychological trigger that, okay, maybe next month I can put $50 more in there, or 60, or something like that, and it almost becomes a little game. But so anyway, you know, I'm sure you all have plenty of examples. Those of you who do something like this, or even if it's just, you know, saving for a down payment on a house, or, you know, increasing what you're putting in retirement or something like that. I'm sure you all have stories about up jumps the devil.
Right.
And feel free to leave those in the comment section. And I think that's about it for this one.
Right.
I mean, and you
I know we've given you pointers of things that we do or don't do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's going to be so much different for everybody.
Yeah, it's
And-
not our way or the highway
No.
or anything like that. There's all kinds of good information from very reputable sources that can help with fine tuning this for your personal situations, and again, where you are in life and career and,
Right.
and all this sort of stuff. But we just want to put out there that we do this and the reasons why, and so I think that's our spiel for this video. We're pretty much at 15 minutes.
Yep.
Under the heading of preview of coming attractions, we've got 2 more videos that we want to do for this household finance theme, and then probably next month,
No,
middle of
I was going
January.
a couple days.
Yeah. No, we'll have one more this week, and then probably the last one the following week. But in probably about beginning middle of January, we're going to start talking about separately as well as together, being gay Christians, what that looks like, what have we discovered, what have we learned, and what kind of misinformation were we given, intentionally or unintentionally, growing up, and just things that we discovered and things that may be useful for some of you out there. We'll have links. Pretty excited about it. It's a series we've wanted to do pretty much from the get-go. That's pretty much that was one of the main reasons why we launched this channel
Right.
in the first place. But we wanted to let it percolate for a bit instead of just diving into it. And hey, who are these old dudes? Why are they talking about God? They're gay. So y'all are going to hell. But so anyway, that's it for now. So everyone, we've been enjoying your comments. We appreciate you taking the time to watch and reaching out to us and letting us know what you think and telling us little bits about yourselves. And we just find that just really, really thrilling and are very appreciative. And I think that's it.
And if you can come up with anything that not that we haven't talked about, but during the finance videos of the last 2 or 3 we've done, this one here, things we haven't mentioned or ideas that for us to try to help us out, that would be awesome too.
Sure.
So we really, really enjoy all the comments you guys make.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's all I got.
All right, that's all I've got.
Have a nice evening.
All right,
Bye.
take care, everyone.